Okay, lambs, I'm safer, so we're going to not talk over me. Andrew's watching me. Here we go. Hey, will you do me a favor? Okie dokie. Light work. So we're entering, so this is the time of the flight when I am literally walking up and down the aisles taking your garbage because we are genuinely circling the SFO International Airport. We're about to land this plane in, guys, we're going to land it in like 15 days. It was so funny. I listened to the video that I taught last year, and because the seniors are getting squirrely, like every 2 seconds, I'm like, you guys have to be quiet. I have to send you to the library. You need to stop talking. So I know where we're at. We end on very easy stuff. It's not hard. You will like it. I think it's a little boring, but I like teaching it because it's not hard. It's not like probability where you kind of get in your head. It's very formula-y. You figure it, you have the formula, you plug it in, nice and easy. It's a thing called conic sections. And the reason they're called conic sections instead of conic functions is that these are not functions. If you remember way back, we said when you have a function, it can't double back on itself. So this was a function, yay, but this was not a function because it doubled back on itself. All of these shapes that we're talking about this time, look at it like a circle, the little egg-shaped ellipse, all the rest of them, they're not functions because they double over on each other. But there are going to be 4, but we're going to learn 3 of them in this chapter. The number 1 is we're going to start with our friend circle. And conic sections means if you took an ice cream cone, those pointy ones, and you chopped it very carefully, these are the shapes you could make. You could chop it right, you could chop that little tip right off, and you're going to get a circle. Or you could chop it on the diagonal, and you would get an oval. That's what you would get. That's called an ellipse. He looks like that. You could chop it along the bottom, and you're going to get a parabola. But we're not going to deal with him because we already learned about him in first semester. And the last one we're going to talk about is a thing called a hyperbola, and he's like 2 parabolas put together. He's like if you took an egg shape and you cracked it in half, you cracked it and opened it up, that would be a hyperbola. If you're thinking, why the hell does anyone care about this stuff in real life? Someday I will have a student, and the student will save the humanities' life because he will go on to be an astrophysicist and send us to other worlds because we've messed up our own world. And it turns out every single type of orbit, of planetary orbit in the galaxy is a conic section. It's either a circular orbit, an elliptical orbit, a hyperbolic orbit, or a parabolic orbit. So, you know what? Someday I'm going to, teach some astrophysics guy. Okay, but for your money, we're starting easy. We're starting with our friend, Mr. Circle. And you know where I got my notes from? From my daughter, Caroline. Because today's is 7th grade math, and it's a tiny bit of geometry. And nothing today is new. Tomorrow, we'll add in some pre-calc with it, but it's so easy. So welcome back to 7th grade. Get your little pencils out. Easy notes. Are you ready to rock and roll? First thing we're going to do, we're going to be using equations on all these guys. So the first thing is we need an equation for a circle. And you may not remember it, so I'm going to write it down for you. It's going to look like this. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And you're thinking, what the heck does that mean? A circle has 2 parts to it. It has the center. So imagine you took your little puppy and you didn't want him to run away, so you put him on a chain and you pound like a stake in the ground. He's got a center, and then he can go around in a big circle, right? So you need a center and you need a radius. The place you find the center from is that stuff. And like we've been saying all year, if it's in parentheses, it comes out naughty. So to get my center, it is going to be h for the x guy and k for the y guy. That is the center. And it comes out naughty. always, 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 it comes out naughty. How do I know that? Because it's in parentheses. It's a knot. This is time out. Knot. H and K, center, and it's not. And then finally, we need a radius. We're going to take that guy, but we don't want r squared. We want him square rooted. And that is our radius. Have you all seen that in 7th grade and in 9th grade or 10th grade? You have. So let's do the first one. And mostly I'm making you do 1 and 2 so I can make fun of you. So if you look back at the skeleton right now, turn around and look at the skeleton, there is a red drawing with a big lemon in the middle of it. That is because that's me trying to draw a circle. Because if I don't use technology, my circles all look like lemons. And the only reason I can live with that is because your circles often look even worse. So I'm going to ask you to do this first problem so I can walk around and laugh at your circle. How do we do the first one? We do this. Get your little pencil ready. You're going to put the center on. Our center is at -4, +2. So you're going to go over 4. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and up 2, 1, 2. That's our center. And we're not going to go out 25. That doesn't make any sense. We go out the square root of 25. So R on this one is 5. Go out 5 in every direction. And I'm going to come around and mock your circles to see what they look like. Do they look like lemons? Do they look like little potatoes? Do they look awesome? Let me get rid of that. Sorry, I don't know why that came up. I just keep touching things. Really? There we go. I'm coming to laugh at your circle. And I'll be like, oh, you're a potato. Okay. I don't want to start taking them. They're mine. So I think we're going to have a competition at the end of time to see who can come up to the board and draw the best freehand circle.
I can do it.
There's actually a competition where they do it to see who can draw it. Oh, okay. Little potato, you not bad. I don't care which one you do. Yeah, like you do it, like there's a competition.
That's a good ass circle.
Yeah, and you do it, and you kind of like swing your arm. I can't do it because I'm lame. I'm coming to laugh at your circle. Oh, that's not too bad. That actually isn't bad. That isn't bad. Let me see your circle. That's not bad. That's a good circle. Wow, that's not bad. You want to try the next one? You can. You don't have to. I just wanted to come and mock your first one. That's not bad. That's bad. Little lemon. Little lemon. It's got a little lemon flavor to it. There you go. 7th grade goes on. I don't need to do the next one because you know how to do it. 7th grade goes on and says this. Hey, what if I gave you the equation? Could you just write the center and the radius? Let's do it. Let's start over here. And let's say the center, 5, 1, and the radius is 8. Right? Nice and easy. Now the first, yeah.
The radius is 64 divided by 8.
Oh, 64 square root. Square root. Now, I'm so glad she asked that because first thing is, what I kept seeing is people in 0 and 1st period kept saying your key is wrong because, that's what it is. And I'm like, no, you're not being careful. So sometimes they're going to trick you and say, it won't say radius here. It would say diameter. What would change if instead of saying radius, it said diameter? What would the answer be instead? I would say it. Say it, John. You just multiply by 2. Yeah, you need 2 of them. A diameter is 2 of them. So the radius is 8. That is true. The diameter would be 16. So if you're doing this problem and you're like, why does the thing say 16, but I keep getting 8? Yeah, because it asks for the diameter. Be careful on that. Yes? Yes.
So is the diameter like a quarter of
No, it is double the radius, and the radius is the square root. So you got to be really careful. First, you got to square root it because that's not halving or quartering, and then double. Good question. Good question. Okay, so we're going to do 1 and 3 again. Not leaving 7th grade yet. What if I gave you? Actually, let's do 1, 2, or 1, 3, and 5. We're not going to do number 7. So let's start off. I'll do the first one for you. Nice and easy. I am writing the equation. Remember, everything goes in naughty. But in a second, I'm going to ask you to be careful. So I'd like you to do number 2, but be careful. Do number 3, sorry, do number 3. But be careful, read it carefully. Because I will tell you this, I don't know what 18 squared is. But you don't need to know what 18 squared is. Do number 3. Did you get 81? Yes. 81 for your radius squared is perfect. Here's your equation. X plus 2 squared, y plus 11 squared equals 81. Because I had to cut that diameter in half, take the 9, and square it. Last thing I want to talk about is number 5. Don't let 0 fool you. It looks like this. X plus 4 squared plus y squared. If it's got a 0, we don't have to even do any parentheses. And don't forget squaring and square rooting. Just undo each other. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Okay, so no lie. That was 7th grade. We are now going to do 3 problems, and we will go to high school. You're going to have fond memories of Mr. Sear or Mr. Lyons or Mr. Teresa. Here we go. Those are warm thoughts. I know you're having warm thoughts right now. Okay, so here's what. We're going to write the equation of this, buddy. And remember, what we need is 2 things. We need the center and the radius. So let's start off. Nice and easy. Let's take this guy, write the equation. X minus 9 squared plus y minus 10 squared equals, there's no radius. So we're going to have to do a little work here. And I'm going to show you good news, bad news, and good news. So here's what. I am going to start you by telling you the bad news. The way you learned to do it in geometry, which was not wrong, was a bit of a nightmare. And what your teacher taught you to do, and again, not wrong, and if your geometry teacher pounded this into your head, go with this. They said, use the distance formula to find this distance. This is 9, 10. This is 7, 4. I am going to write the distance formula up, but you are not. I'm going to show it, and if some of you nerds are looking at it thinking, oh, I totally remember that, you can use it. But I'm going to show you a Mrs. Tarantino way, that's the good news, where you don't need the distance formula. Okay, so the distance formula looks like this. It was x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared, square rooting. Now, you're not going to write that. But if you're not writing that, you're going to do it a different way. Did you have your phone again? Did he have his phone? Oh, you're such a liar. Put your phone behind you. Okay, so here's the Mrs. Tarantino way. Mrs. Tarantino way says this. You know what? If only I had a random point that I could plug in right here, it would give me that. If only I had some random point on the circle, I could plug it in and get that answer really easily. And here's the good news. You do. That is a random point on the circle. So to get this number, all we have to do is plug in the random point, and it will give us this number. We don't have to square root. We don't have to do anything. So let's do that. Are you ready? So we're going to say, oh, let's plug in this random ass point right here. I'm going to plug in this right here and this right here. So here I go. 7 minus 9 squared plus 4 minus 10 squared. Did I lose anybody? You're like, hey, you're just plugging in the weird random ass point. Let's keep going. Negative 2 squared plus negative 6 squared. Yay. Last thing, 4 plus 36, and that equals 40. Guess what? Here's all you have to do to finish this problem. Take this guy and put him right there. You know what you've done without realizing it? That's the distance formula. You just did it without even realizing it.
Oh, why'd you?
But that's way easier. Okay, everyone's trying 14 on their own. Everyone's doing 14 on one round. I don't want to start collecting phones for the last 20 minutes. Great, go
See how
ahead.
many minutes passed?
It doesn't matter.
No.
Put your phone away. You know, put it away and do the phone. I'm going to take it.
Wait,
Put it away.
You know the 14. Oh my God, I'm so gonna like you.
It was very good. Yeah. See, I went to also do.
Brayden, do this 14. Do number 14. It is.
You just said,
It is.
this? You just want what's big?
One half base time, I mean, one half base times height is a triangle, and pi squared is a circle. Okay, here I go. Here's my equation. X minus 1 squared plus y plus 5 squared. Ooh, I need it to equal something. So I'm going to plug in random ass number. So I'm going to get -7 minus 1 plus -13 plus 5. Nice, easy numbers. $64 plus 64. Here's what I get. Big grand total. 128. How'd I do? Am I good? Light work? Chris, last time I asked. Next time I'm going to literally make everyone use the phone charger thing. Phone tree thing. Okay. Last problem, and I'm shutting up. Last problem is this. They give us random ass points. They don't give us the middle. Right? Again, bad news, good news. In geometry, your teachers made you use the midpoint formula. This is T, does not like formulas, so here's what I'm telling you. The middle of anything is just the average. You add two things and you cut them in half. It's that easy. So I've got a point right here at -14, 1, and I have a point right here at -10, 9. So here's my first question. What number is in the middle between -14 and -10 if you looked on a number line? What's smack in the middle? Not regular 12, -12. Awesome. That's our half of our midpoint. Now, if you're thinking, but Miss T, what if I can't eyeball it like that? Then you just add those two guys together, -14 plus -10, and you cut it in half. It's so easy. So if you want to know what's right in the middle between 1 and 9, what's smack in the middle, you can either eyeball it, or you can think 1 plus 9 is 10, cut in half is 5. And then guess what? You're off to the races. So let's do this last problem, and I'm done. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say x plus 12 squared plus y minus 5 squared equals, I don't know. I took the 1 and the 9, and what's in the middle of 1 and 9? All right. And the way to do that, if you don't want to do that, like eyeball it, 1 plus 9, 10, cut it in half. It's the average, right? So middle and average, same thing. Somehow or another, average doesn't freak us out. But midpoint formula, no one likes that. Okay, the last slide I'm leaving you with, I need to plug in a random ass number. They gave me 2. Pick which one you want. I don't care. You can plug in this guy, or you can plug in this guy. It doesn't matter. You get the same answer either way. Plug in the one that you like better. If you're playing along at home, do the even ones on the homework tonight. Bye. Bye.